Capuchin Thalir online programs. This is part of the Solanas KC Holistic Welfare Center, Viluppuram in India. We give motivational trainings and empowerment for religious and lay leaders, formators and formees, teachers and students, families, parents and children. We also give counseling to the individuals and the communities and the families. We conduct retreats and monthly recollections. Welcome to Solanas KC Holistic Welfare Center. Contact the Director, Nitya, YFM CAP. totalexcellence@gmail.com.
Dear brothers and sisters, today we are going to focus on time management with special focus on doing versus being. We welcome Father Xavier to have the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Nitya, Reverend Fathers, Sisters, Brothers, and all who are with me in this talk. I'm very happy to be with you once again. I would like to share my thoughts on time management. Before I begin this talk, I would like to make my working principle clear. The philosophy of my working principle is not doing a number of things in a short time, but being energetic to do a lot over a long period of time. It is not managing things in time, but managing oneself in time. In other words, time management is personal management. So it is not doing a lot, but being full. So this is my working principle for this evening. In this background, I will take how we are making the life voyage, whether we concentrate on doing or being. I would be concentrate on being. And finally, I will end up with how paradigms make a difference for us and for our work. Now, going to the main theme is, you see the picture, this is a representation of iceberg. They say the iceberg, only 1/9 or 1/10 would be seen outside. The rest will be immersed in water. So I consider this, our doing is like the part that is seen, but our capacity to do is what is not seen outside. So in other words, it is not efficiency of doing a lot of things, but how effective we are in doing things. It is not the impact or achievements, but how much we influence people by our work. Again, it is not performance. I have done this, I have achieved this, but how much our work is going to be permanent, being useful others. Once again, it is not the productivity, but productivity capacity. I would like to give you 2 examples. The one story is well known to all of us, the golden egg duck. You had studied it in the 2nd, 3rd standard. You know, this golden egg duck was laying 1 golden egg a day. The owner became very greedy. So one day he caught hold of the duck, cut it into 2, thinking there will be so many golden eggs inside, but only 1 egg was there to be laid for that day. So the productivity of the duck was 1 egg a day, but the capacity of the duck practically is infinite. So this is the crux of the point. Are we concentrating on the productivity or productivity capacity? I will be concentrating more and the productivity capacity. Another example is about the saw and sharpening. Two people started cutting a huge tree at the edge of a forest. They started sawing it, cutting into pieces. They started early morning. Around 10 o'clock, the neighbor took pity on them and said, "Can I bring you some coffee? Please take some coffee, take some rest." They said, No, we have a lot of things to do, we can't take rest. Then around noontime, when the farmer returned from the field, he said, "I'm ready to give you some lunch. Take a break." They said, No, look at the huge tree. We have to finish working. Then the farmer went away. Around 3 o'clock, when he was returning from the farm, he saw two fellows sitting very sad without finishing the work. He said, "What happened?" He said, "Our saw broke." The farmer said, "You should have stopped now and then. You should have sharpened the saw so that it can work." This is what happens to us if we go on non-stop working. We need time to sharpen ourselves. Some of the tips I will give you how to do that. It is not the hard work, it is the smart work. If you can do the work in 50 minutes, what you could do in 60 minutes, you gain 10 minutes. So like that in a day, you can gain more than an hour. That is the title of my book. You saw there in the beginning, Creating the 25th Hour. So it is not doing a lot in short time, but being energetic always to do more. Therefore, my presentation is time management, but energy management. How you can be energetic, how you would be able to capable. Where do you get this energy from? This energy is from the subconscious, as I mentioned in the last 2 days. The subconscious has got a lot of energy within. There is a lion sleeping and you wake it up and you would be able to do the work. The subconscious is capable of doing a lot. I can give you a simple example. If I ask you to run 1 kilometer, you would be very hesitant. You will say, "I am old, I am not healthy, and I am not accustomed to do that." But when you go out of your room, if a mad dog runs after you, you would be running not 1 kilometer, maybe a couple of kilometers. Where do you get the energy? The adrenaline in your system is there that helps you. The time of crisis, you are able to do a lot. So the subconscious is like the control room of a battleship. The mind is the captain of the ship. All the control directions are coming from the battleship, and it is the thinking and doing that runs the show. We have a lot of psychic power. We are capable of a lot of intuition, and the intuition is the one that very often we have to follow that. So the subconscious is the source of energy from which surges all the time whatever energy you need. For example, you might have heard about the Tibetan monks. They are able to raise their body temperature up to 8 degrees Celsius or about 17 degrees Fahrenheit. They can sit on the Himalayas at the height of about 5,000 meters with just the rope they ordinarily have, and they can sleep there. How they are able to make use of the energy, and Harvard University has done a lot of scientific energy, of course, with the permission of Dalai Lama. So the subconscious, what it does, it takes clue from your feeling. The feeling influences your thought. The thought makes the impression, and the impression helps you make the decision, and it is the decision that boils down to action. So the subconscious is the one where starting from the feeling, thinking, impression, decision, action goes there. And from there comes the capacity of multitasking or parallel tasking. Multitasking is some people can do only one thing at a time. and they cannot do more than one thing. Physically, you may be doing one thing, but mentally, you can do a lot of things. Our brain is built for that. Your aesthetic senses are in one area, your logical things are another area, your linguistic capacities are in another area in the brain. So every section has got one. You tell your subconscious, it will be able to do the parallel processing. Those who are familiar with computer would know the serial and parallel processes. You can do one thing, as Thich Nhat Hanh said, concentrate on one thing in hand, but your subconscious will be working on many things. When it is ready, you will be able to do. Now you can understand why Pope Francis has got the sleeping St. Joseph in his room, the statue. When you sleep, your subconscious is very much awake. It is able to do a lot of things. The components of the time management is, first of all, you should have the motivation. And the goal setting is very much needed. What is it you want to do that? This will be a separate talk when I am coming back in October. I will be giving more in detail on that. Motivation is something that gives you the enthusiastic, dynamic spirit for you to go towards the goal you have. Once that is clear, the transition is what to do and how to do that. As I said yesterday, you need discerning mind and understanding heart so that you are able to distinguish between right and wrong. At the same time, you are able to understand what it is so that you are able to do that. This I will be dealing with the decision making and discernment, another talk that I'll be giving separately in next month. So another one is whatever you do in the subconscious, it is executed in your head, heart, and hand. I dealt with it yesterday. Thinking is with the head, understanding with the heart, doing with the hand. So the success formula is the aptitude and attitude. Aptitude is the qualification. Are you trained? Are you able to prove yourself? The attitude is not coming by learning, but coming from inside. What is your attitude towards the people? How do you understand the people? You may be skilled, your attitude may be quite right, but your understanding may be very minimal. But only when your aptitude and attitude are put together, then the altitude, that means you can go to any height in your work or success. And the approach is whether you want to be a leader or a manager. A manager is the one who gets things done. A leader is the one who accompanies the people. Again, manager is doing, leader is being. You want to be a leader or a manager? We want to be a leader. Once you have chosen that, then multitasking is simply doing what is important, not what is urgent. The urgent things, if you are not going to do, somebody else will do that. But important things, the long range planning, preparing people for the work, or preparing yourself for the next ministry or mission, that is important. If you don't do it today, fine. If you don't do it tomorrow, fine. But eventually you have to do. So spend more time on that. In this process, you will be facing challenges with yourself and with others. This was the central theme of the talk yesterday. So I'm not going to do much on that. When you have stress, all I can say is delegate the work to somebody else. Don't mess up with everything. When there is conflict, sit down and talk up. Or when the situation comes, the disaster management, those who are in administration, they know what it is. For example, somebody gets sick. Do you have the nearby hospital? Do you have access to that? Or somebody meets with an accident. Do you have information to send to all the family members? Or emergency happens like the corona pandemic or maybe floods or anything. Do you have people to work on that? When all these things are done, the final thing I would tell you is, how do you make time contract? How do you create the 25th hour? That will be a simple exercise I will give you to do at home. So in this process, we have the mindset is very important. The mindset is, what is the assumptions I have? Assumption about people, assumption about the work, assumption about a lot of things. What exactly is my assumption? Then comes, what is my methods? And what is the, each one has got their own way of understanding. The notations held by one or more people or group of people. So we may have our own assumption within our own congregation or the community. We may have certain assumption. Are we resonating with that? Or if I agree, how do I find a common room in that? For that, the mindset, yesterday I gave you the example how Alexander was able to convince his soldiers. You know, the coin he tossed, whatever way he put, he will get the tail, the head, and he will be going for the work. So mindset is something that gives you the impulse to do the work. From the mindset, the next thing is confidence building. I am able to do that because I am not alone, especially in the religious life. No one is indispensable. We normally say the higher you are in administration, the easier it is to replace you. For example, a president dies, or a prime minister dies, or even the pope dies, within a week you will find another one. But go to the college office, somebody is not coming there, you are not able to work. So the higher you go, the easier it is to replace. But what is important is others should have the confidence. Once you have all these things, you know where your energy is stored, that is the subconscious. The trick is, how do you make the energy surge? It starts from mindset, goes to the conviction of your capacity and confidence, and starts working on your energy level. For this, you should have the motivation. What is it that is the dynamic spirit? Do you have the feeling, I can do it or I can't do it? Much depends on you. For this, we need to have role model. Role model is people whom we try to imitate. Not 100%, but whatever is good. I recommend you to read the book Jonathan Siegel Livingston by Richard Bach. I mentioned about him earlier, but this one is about a seabird called Jonathan. You know, the seabird is the one you see on the shore of the sea. It is a little heavy bird. It cannot fly. When fishermen come, it takes some fish, sits there quietly. But one bird, Jonathan, said, I would like to fly like other birds. But the community said, stupid, don't do that, just to be like one of us. But it was struggling. One friend came, I said, I will be your trainer. So the seagull started flying faster and faster, farther and farther, higher and higher. At the end, it was able to fly like the eagle. It is the mindset. It is the role model. It is the clear idea of achievement. It is said about Tenzing, the one who climbed Mount Everest first. As he was growing up in Tibet, he used to look at Mount Everest and imagine how nice it will be to stand on Mount Everest and look around the world. That was the source of energy for him. He tried about 50 times. The 40th time, he was about to go in 1 or 2 hours. He was about to reach, but it was called off because the climate was not good. So it seems he told Mount Everest, today you win, tomorrow I win. Next day he climbed. So the constant effort is the one, that is the perseverance. keep going. Once your goal is ready, keep going. I would like to give the example of Thomas Alva Edison. You may remember him for discovering the bulb, but he has discovered more than 1,000 scientific discoveries with US patents and other countries. In 1914, his workplace, the plant, was in fire. There was explosion, huge fire. It's a huge complex. I have visited this place a couple of times in a place called Edison. It is named after him. He was 67, huge fire, and people were wondering what to do. What did Edison do? He called his son. He said, "Hey son, get your mother. This is an unbelievable sight. Ask her to see this one. Look at that fire." He was enjoying the fire. But at the end of the day, he told all the employees, "My dear fellows, tomorrow 5:30 a.m. we start again. We are rebuilding." He rebuilt it. And they say he never sent home anybody from work. He did that. That is called the resilience. There is a sustaining force. You might have read in history, Ghazni Muhammad, who invaded 17 times to India and succeeded it. And you can also learn it from our migrant workers, how much the country was closed within 4 hours. They were able to walk thousands of kilometers. They have that resilience power. The resilience power is ability to sustain. That is one of the things we have to learn in time management. And as I mentioned earlier, you should be clear about the goal. What is it you want to achieve? What does your congregation or your community want you to achieve? Once that goal is set, you should work on direction. If you don't know where you want to go, take any road, because it doesn't matter where you are going. But if you want to know a particular place, you want to take the shortest route or the fastest route, direction is very important. Then you should dedicate yourself day in and day out. You should work with determination. That needs discipline, and you should work with deadlines. It is not today I work, tomorrow I'm tired. Okay, take rest, but keep it in sight. The goal should be a SMART goal. SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound. I give you, for example, you want to reduce your weight. Simply don't say, "I want to reduce your weight." How much you want to reduce my weight? Once my doctor said, "Reduce your weight 15 kilos." So I tried. In 2 months, I was able to reduce 10 kilos. It is to be specific and it should be measurable. Don't plan, "I want to reduce 150 kilos in 3 months." It is not possible. And it should be measurable. Can you every week check that one and whether you can achieve that? And it should be realistic within a time. So for any goal, sit down and do, whether it is very clear, whether you can measure the progress, whether you can achieve it, whether it makes sense, and can you work within the time bound. Otherwise, you are going to get frustrated. Then the goals could be major and minor goals. What is the major and minor goals? The long, medium, short goals. Suppose for this year, what is my year-end goal? What is my 6 months goal? That will be medium. What is this month's goal? That is short. You would have seen the rocket taking off. A huge thing will take off. In 2-3 minutes, you see the bottom falls down. Then a small cylinder-like thing goes up. That also eventually falls down. Finally, a small thing, what you call the payload, that is put on the orbit. So it is something like a rocket. You shed a lot of things till you reach the place. Though this goal could be defined as step goal, sprint goal, and stretch goal. Don't worry about the technical terms. Step goal means what you can achieve today. Sprint goal means over a week. And stretch goals, long period of time. If you want to read more, you read the book Die Empty by Todd Henry. And once these are all the things that is happening within you. Now the transition period comes where you have to decide. So here only comes your mind chooses the track and your heart loves it, likes it, goes ahead with that, and the decision and discernment would be synchronizing with each other. The decision is your option to choose from. I want to go to my office. I can go by walking if it is nearby, or I can go by cycle, or I can go by bus, or I can go by train, depending on the pandemic situation or whatever convenience or the climate. So that is a decision. Every day we are making decisions without spending much time on that. The discernment is whether you are able to perceive things as they are. What is important is no prejudice, no prejudgment. You are able to see things and listen to your inner voice. What is it that resonates with your decision? If a decision and discernment are resonating with each other, you have peace of mind, there is a harmony, you are on the right track, then you are able to go there. So the decision making, if you want to go a little deeper into that, is the starting point is clarity of purpose. What is it I want to do? You see the railway track, you can have more than one option to go, but depends on where you want to go. And at the same time, you should have open mind. Suppose something doesn't work, don't sit and cry. Can you do something else? So for example, what is my next stage in life? I am completing my studies. What am I going to do? Or I'm going to retire. What I'm going to do? So I am getting 60. What I'm going to do? So you should be very clear about that. Then you can discuss with others, with your authorities. Then you will be able to do. So in the decision making, first get all the informations available. It is not simply believing the informations. Does it make sense? You have to find out the credibility of the source. It is not the authenticity of the information. Who says that? Most of the WhatsApp messages are fake or not true. Sometimes they send you things, all the memes and all is what people want you to believe that. Is it true or not? You have to apply your logical, critical mind. So once you get this credibility, then you try to find out whether there is any reason or logic in the information you received. Only then you should sit down and consider what are the pros, what are the cons, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages. Sometimes you are not able to make out. Then what you do, you call the experts. There are some in the area. Suppose you are a mother general, you want to start a new school or a college, you are not able to find out, get people who are running institutions or somebody who are successful in that, they will be able to tell you. And then, as I mentioned earlier, pay attention to making the decision and taking the decision. Making the decision, all this process, what I said earlier, or making the decision, discussing with others, with the community, with the officials, these are all making the decision. They indicate what is the direction to go, but you take the decision finally and own the decision. It is not the safe decision, it is the right decisions. Here only comes your discernment for this one. It's not safe. If we do this, we are safe. Nobody will criticize. I can do that, but make sure that you are having the right decision in your life. Once you have done the decisions, the discernment process comes here. This is something, the synchronization of mind and heart. You have decided, you have analyzed the data, you have checked the credibility, you have discussed with the experts, you have made the decision and you have taken the decision, fine. Now, how do you feel within? Do you feel at home with this one? Or just because you consulted your friends, everybody said, fine, what does your conscience say? If you say it is okay, then go ahead. So here is your rational as well as affective ways should go together. But one thing you have to make sure that ethical values have to be followed, namely good of all involved. If you are serving the people, we should do that. We are not profit-making companies. Rather, we are service offering trusts. People have trust in us. So the ethical values are there. And in this value, you have to follow three-step formula: awareness, acceptance, action. You should be aware of the situation you are going to do. You should accept the reality. Your concept may be different, but the reality may be different. Accept the reality. That's why your decision making would help. Only then go for action. Don't jump into action, then you are going to get confused. You are going to waste a lot of time. It is worth spending time on the process of taking the decision, then it would go. In this process, how do you execute your decisions? Sometimes you do it yourself, sometimes with others. But all should have the vision the same. All should be able to get the inspiration from the same source. Then you can get the momentum towards the mission. A congregation or an organization has the vision, and you get the inspiration from the founder or foundress or the group of the board, whatever it is. You get the inspiration or what we call your mandate. Then it is easy for you to pick up momentum and you are easily able to achieve the mission. Once again, whether you want to be a leader or a manager, and that leads you whether you want to concentrate on your will or your skill. This is same as what I said earlier, that your attitude and your aptitude. You need skills. You should know how to do that. If you are going to manage a big institution, you should have something about management. Either you should have studied or you should have had practice. Then you should have the willpower that I am able to do that. This will and skill have got 4 stages. I give you by an example, this unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, unconscious competence. I give you a little child and the motorbike, the huge motorbike, bullet motorcycle. A small little child will never like to drive the bullet. It will not even go nearby. It is incompetent, but it is unconscious, but it will not go anywhere. It is happy with playing with a little toy. It grows little older, 5 years, 6 years, and still it knows it is incompetent, but it is conscious. It cannot ride by itself, but it would like to play with a motorcycle toy. Or it would like to travel with an elderly person, somebody drives, would like to stand in front of the scooter or sit at the back. But when the child grows into adult, it is 17 or 18 years, you are able to get the license. Initially, you are very careful. You follow all the rules, road signals, all kinds of things. That is conscious competence. After 2-3 years, you are looking here and there, you're talking to the people at the back, or you are even talking to the cell phone. Unconscious competence. Practice makes perfect. What is important is strive all the time consciously. This helps you the ability to do multitasking. You are capable. There is inner power, only you have to excavate. And another thing is you have to do the dovetailing activities. At the end, I will give you how to do that. Dovetailing means you see a dove, look at the dove. It has got a very narrow beak and a small head, a little broader shoulder, and it narrows down and doesn't end abruptly. In the tail, it broadens up little. It is created to pierce through the air. Flying through the air or swimming in the water are the same. We call it fluid dynamics. It has to pierce the air, so you need a little beak. And then you should make a small opening to go in to fly. So the small head goes in and then slowly it broadens. The big opening comes with the shoulder, but it cannot fly because the air will close very fast. The bird will lose its balance. So slowly it tails down to the tail, and if it closes abruptly, again the bird will loses the balance. It has to open up at the end of the tail. So if you see a bird, you can see it's called the dovetailing. As you are going through the day, you do it. Suppose you are going to the office, on the way you want to say hello to somebody, you want to purchase somebody, or you want to make some phone calls. All these things, while you are doing one thing, you can do another thing. But the challenges are there. The one is the stress management, where you need to fix your priority. If you can't do it, delegate to others. As mentioned yesterday, that it much depends on what is the routine you have and how much you take rest. And the conflict management, yesterday I mentioned that it is whether it is subjective or subjective. It try to be objective better, whether it is common goal or my personal interest. That's why it is important to look at the situation of others from others' perspective. Therefore, start from common area of what you do. Once you have done that, then you are able to manage with the conflicts. And the disaster management is also, I mentioned a little while ago, how do you build up your communication and networking skills? If you have a plan A, be prepared to do plan B, because what could go wrong will one day go wrong. Only thing is, are you prepared for that? And this is what I said, what I mentioned about the creating the 25th hour. This is called the time contract. Now, Ignatius tells us, when you go to bed, before you fall asleep, think when you are going to get up, and then what you are going to pray about. I could add, think about what you are going to do also. So the list what I show you on the right is actually what I do. Before I go to sleep, actually after my supper, I prepare what I should do. It is the first half of it, what the program I have already had. I look in my diary, I put it there, 5:30, getting up, 9 o'clock, I have to meet somebody, 10 o'clock. So whatever it is you put there. The rest is what I have put arrow mark, what comes during the day. So don't fill it 100%. Normally, I fill it about 80%, another 20% comes in the way. So make a to-do list before you go to bed. What happens is, when you are sleeping, the subconscious works on that. So tomorrow I have to meet this person. What should be the topic of that? How I should answer that? It's a rehearsal goes on within your subconscious. It doesn't disturb your sleep. But it finds, or tomorrow you are going for a very important discussion with your higher ups, or you want to make a decision, the subconscious works, looks into various compartments in your subconscious, finds out the answer. From there, you get the guiding force or the compass, that is your inner voice. When you get up in the morning, sometimes you get a lot of new ideas. Sometimes when I get up in the morning, I sit down 5 minutes and write down all the things. It's also good. Don't jump out of the bed. Don't jump into the things. Take your time to go into that. To help this, I would suggest ask 2 questions in the morning. 1 question in the morning, 1 in the evening. When you get up in the morning, what good shall I do this day? So this list will tell you, I have this one, I have to write this one, I have to talk to this one, this and that. In the evening, reflect, what good have I done today? The religious, they call it examination of conscience, or the business people call it a review of the day. But here, ultimately, it comes, what good have you done? Concentrate on the good. Don't worry about what you have not done well, what you are not able to do that. So in order to do that, you should have the sustaining energy. I don't want to go into that. Yesterday I have done that. All I want to say is, you need spiritual energy through prayers. You need physical energy by exercise and eating right. You know, emotional energy to having time for your friends and loved ones. You should need mental energy, this goal plan, what we have seen, and also business energy, concentrating on one. So be ready to leave out your comfort zone. in the pursuit of something that you believe in. If you want to read more, read the book, The One Thing. It's one of the international bestsellers. Now, to help all these things, what we have done, I am just going to give an experimental result which would give how do we make the paradigm? What is the principle? For example, sometimes you have a concept of this. Christian means they are like this. Muslim means they are like this. If this country people means they are like this. Where do you get that impression? That may not be true. So we work on sometimes the paradigm. For example, in very often we say, this is our tradition. Don't ask questions. This is the way we do it. This is what we do it. It seems there was a guru, he was very fond of a cat. So whenever he sat in prayer, the cat should not disturb others. They used to tie the cat in front of the house. So the guru was there, and then after the guru died, the cat was still tied in front of the house. Afterwards, the cat also died. They bought another cat and tied every time. So if they asked, why do you tie the cat? That is what the custom in the monk or in the monastery that was. So do our paradigm right? Can we take the paradigm into question, rethinking? So here is an example. It's not too much to explain, but you can follow what it is. A group of scientists placed 5 monkeys in a cage, and in the middle, a ladder with bananas on the top. You know, monkeys are very fond of bananas. Always you see bananas, they like it. So this scientist kept that. Then what happened next? So naturally, one monkey will try to go up the ladder to get the banana. So what the scientist did, they did not punish that monkey. They put very cold shower water on other monkeys. So whenever this monkey, one monkey tried to go up, all the other monkeys were soaked in ice cold water. So they said there is something wrong when going up the ladder. Then what happened was, after a while, every time a monkey goes up, the other monkeys got this punishment, and then they stopped doing that. After some time, the monkeys got the practice. They did not dare to go up the ladder. The temptation was there, but because the ice cold water shower, they remembered and they will not touch. So they kept off from the banana. Now what happened? Something interesting. Then the scientists decided to substitute one of the monkeys. They removed one monkey from the 5 and put another monkey. And what did the monkey do? Did not know the cold shower. So it tried to go up the ladder. And the scientists did not do the cold shower. What happened? The other monkey started beating him up. They did not say why, but after several beatings, the new member learned, okay, now I should not go up to get the banana. And then what happened? Another monkey was substituted. And then the same thing happened. When he tried to go up, the other monkey started, including the first replaced monkey. So the third monkey had the problem, fourth monkey had the problem. Finally, what happened? All the 5 monkeys were replaced. The first batch of monkeys are removed, which had the actual cold shower. The next batch of monkeys are there. They did not have the cold shower, but they will not go up the ladder because they learned it through the hard way. And what happened? They did not attempt to climb the ladder. When they asked what happened, they said why they would beat up all the monkeys and when they go up the hill. But if somebody asks why you are not doing it, why you are not going for the banana, they would say, I don't know. That is how things are done around here. Does it sound familiar to us? Every house, every institution, every congregation, sometimes we have some paradigm. It may be good, it may not be that good, but I am giving this example to show that a paradigm is formed, we should be able to question this paradigm. We should be able to see whether we are doing that. Otherwise, we are just following the crowd. We are not always following the crowd. We should be able to lead the crowd. If we can do that, we will be able to do that. So, this is what they should do. Why we should be able to do that? We should be able to check, think for ourselves and do it, but we always need others to consult, to work with us. That is very important for us to do that. So from here, I just want to end with Einstein's quotation. He said, only two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity. And he says, I'm not so sure about the former, but he seems to be sure about the latter. So we need not be stupid. We should be rational, logical. At the same time, we should work. It's not with the mind alone we work. What matters is your inner power. The outer decides the inner. If you want to be happy, if you are not happy inside, any amount of your external power, wealth, position is not going to be happy. Sometimes they told me about someone why he is not happy. I said he's not going to be happy even if you make him the president of India. Then he will say, why I cannot be president of United States? The inner decides the other. The inner gives you the power to do whatever you want. So time management in that sense is what you are within, that gives you enormous energy to do what you are going to do. With that, I would end. Thank you very much for your listening. I just want to show this is what we call typewriter. Today you are not able to see the typewriter. This is what I was working when I was doing my theology in Germany. Thank you very much.